Hello everyone, Mark Holthe, Canadian immigration lawyer, back again with another wonderful, beautiful winter morning in Canada and an immigration live Q&A. This episode of our live Q&A, I don't really have much in terms of news. And the reason is because we've been pumping out lots of information separately so that I can devote more time to answering your questions about Canadian immigration. So welcome. It is a beautiful February the 16th here in Canada, 10 a.m. Mountain Time. And if you're wondering what this is all about, if you're a first-time viewer, this is your opportunity to ask questions and get them answered by a Canadian immigration lawyer, myself, ex-immigration officer many years ago, and former high school teacher even longer ago than that. And this wonderful, wonderful Q&A that I love doing feeds my passion for teaching, immigration, and, well, being a lawyer. So welcome today, those of you who are tuning in. It's going to be a good one. We're going to make sure that we give lots of time to get to as many questions as possible. I want to point out just a couple little highlights. We'll flip over here, see how this appears. Not too bad. Okay, first off, right here, this is my Twitter feed. I never talk about my Twitter feed. Apparently, I've done 4,447 tweets. I don't know if any of you actually follow my Twitter feed, but there is a question. Well, hey, there's our live right there. But right here, wow, I've got 50 comments. Okay, I am an immigration lawyer. Ask me anything. This is where I want you to go. And you can literally ask me anything that you want to do, because this is part of something greater and you are going to be a part of it if you come here and ask your questions. And they can be anything, including what's your favorite flavor of soda? Or what color are your socks? You can see, super popular, that one. So anything you want to ask me, go ahead and do that. The reason I'm doing this is, well, actually, I'm not going to tell you, but it is going to be so much fun. It's going to be the lighter side of immigration. And, you know, you guys probably watch me and I'm always really serious. And I'm always like, you know, I have to be serious as an immigration lawyer. I have to be serious when I'm dealing with your lives. Literally, you're resting on the information that I'm sharing you, and you're using it to try to make decisions, you know, to improve your lives. And so I have to be very, very serious. And, you know, I get a little bit passionate and everything about what I do. But this right here is my opportunity to pull the curtain back on immigration lawyers, myself, and where I come from, who I am. It can be anything. It can be an immigration question. It can be a question that has nothing to do with immigration, like what color are my socks? Which right now, nothing. I'm not wearing socks today. I didn't feel like it. So there we go. That's the beauty of working out of your home. You can do whatever you want. So there we go. So I wanted to share that with you. So head on over to Twitter. It's just at Mark Holthe. Pretty easy to find me. And then the next item, dun, 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 dun. Now we're going to flip over here and what is going to happen. So we've had lots of discussions about the rounds of invitations. If you're in Canada, you're eligible for a PNP. You got a good shot at seeing something flush out either today or tomorrow. So February the 2nd, it's the 16th today, 2 weeks. Let's see what happens here. We'll just have to wait and see. Those of you who do not get your questions answered, if it's Express Entry related, we are doing the masterclass right now, which is awesome. I think this is one of the best groups that I've ever had. No, now I'm not taking anything away from the phenomenal groups I had in the past, but this one to kick off really 2022, I thought it was going to be really, really, well, one, poorly attended. And I thought that there would be a lot of individuals that, you know, were just frustrated and just, you know, in many regards, just wanted to know what was happening and why immigration wasn't moving forward. But this group is made up of phenomenal people who are super proactive, who are taking the time to learn and understand for when immigration reinitiates those rounds of invitation, and for the CEC and the FSW and the no program specified draws. So anyways, that they're right over here. I'm actually focusing on the wrong thing. In the Canadian Immigration Institute, they're right here in the course. And so they're taking it, and it's awesome. And I'm going to see them again tonight at 5. So if you're here and you've subscribed, give me a thumbs up. Let everybody know that you're one of the people that signed up. March 21st to the 25th is my second spousal sponsorship course and masterclass. For you consultants out there, I'm working frantically with the regulator to get CPD credit for you guys. So I will let you know once that's up and running. As I indicate in, if you go here to the express entry, if you are an immigration consultant and you're wondering, how do I take this class? How do I get credit for it? Well, all I want you to do is to make sure you give me your name, send an email to Mark at Canadian Immigration Institute right here, and then I will keep you posted once I get things all sorted out with the college so that we can offer that CPD credit. And I'm hoping that I can get credit for this, but I'm surprised. This round was really full of a lot of applicants. And usually I have a lot of consultants that also take the courses, but this here is full of a lot of proactive applicants. So I just wanted to let you guys know about that. And make sure that you head on back here and leave your name, reserve your spot for the spousal sponsorship. If that fits your fancy and that works for you, it's going to be awesome. Remember, we also have the LMIA course for employers, and you're wondering, hey, will this employer sponsor me? Will they help me to extend my postgrad work permit with an LMIA? And the employer says, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. This course is for them. Okay, high wage, LMIA, extra 50 points, extend your work permit. And I know lots of you are going to be asking, is the minister going to make an announcement? Is he going to re-up the 18-month postgrad like he did last year? Personally, I think there's a good shot at it. Now, before I jump to the questions, and I know I've got a lot that I'm talking about right now, I do want to point something out. Let's see if we can find this. IRCC Levels Plan 2022. We'll probably pull up CIC News. They're the ones that drive the ship. Oh, hey, it's actually first here. Okay, I'm going to shift this over once I'm here. Let's see, we've got this. Okay, yeah. So here's what I'm going to show you guys. I wanted to share this with you. So right here, this is basically the page 22 to 24 Immigration Levels Plan, just launched 2 days ago, just released 2 days ago, and you can go watch the YouTube video that I did on that where I broke it down in depth. But as I've been thinking about this, I want to show you guys something. So this right here is TR to PR pathway. Okay, you can see 40,000 spots for this year were basically stripped out of the federal high skilled, which was and you can see right here, you click on the link, it tells you what it is: federal skilled worker, the federal skilled trade, and the Canadian experience class. Okay, so for this year, you can see that there is 40,000 that are attributed to basically the TR to PR pathway, which you can see here. Policies, public policies for temporary resident to permanent resident pathways, with all admissions anticipated by the end of 2023. So basically we know that there was, how many, like just about 90,000 or so that went through last year. Well, understand that they have allocated within this little chart. Don't forget, you guys, that in 2021, they landed a lot of TR to PR pathways, okay? So a lot of them did come through and a lot of them land. Now, maybe someone has statistics on what that is. But this year for 2022, we've got 40,000 allocated here. And then I have to scroll down a little bit here so that I can slide my window over so you guys can see this. That should work. You can see for 2023, we have another 32,000 for a total of 72,000. Now, I don't have the figures for how many they actually landed this year. I should say in 2021, but there is the possibility that they could open up a little bit more room for another TR to PR pathway, or in some shape or form, based on, as we see right down here, based on a public policy, which is what they did last time. So there is a possibility that they could very well do one more, with the landings spilling over into 2023, or in all honesty, the following year. And I'm going to pull this up here, and we're going to slide this over a little bit more. And then we're going to slide back up to here. Okay. And so 2024 is when the ship should be righted, and then everything will flip back to the federal skilled worker. So there's an outside possibility that they could do that. depending upon how much I've already gone through. Now, I just put that out as a possibility. I don't know. Maybe they only landed 12,000 TR to PRs last year. Maybe that was the case, and maybe this does fill up the whole quota. But you can see there are high water marks as well of 48,000 and even up to 42,000 that are potentially available. So we'll see what happens. This is not Mark telling you guys that there's going to be another TR to PR pathway. Personally, I would love it if the minister did do this, but you just never know. All right, you just never know. All right, let's see who's in the house here. And I know we've got a ton of these questions. Jag Brinder says it's minus 20 degrees. You know, I shoveled my walk this morning and it was beautiful outside. It's cold, but it's not super cold. Let's see how cold it is here. Well, not too bad. See that? Minus 8 degrees here in Lethbridge, Alberta. And so not too bad, but we had this light fluffy snow. Today's Wednesday. Saturday, I'm going to take my daughter and her friend out to Powder Keg, which is a little T-bar. If you've ever skied, it just has a T-bar to take you up to the top. It's a small little hill. And I'm going to take, we're going to head up there and do a little skiing. And I may very well do a little fishing in the river. So we'll see how it plays out. Okay. Ivete. Muito bom. Bem-vindo from South in Brazil. Okay, well, you have to tell me que parte do Brasil. Okay, you have to tell me where in Brazil. Maybe it's Curitiba. What else is in the South? I don't even know. I'm going to get there one day, that's for sure. And I was also very surprised that actually, Ivete, there is a large portion of immigrants that actually come from Brazil. And when we were looking at the level, the results of the landings, Brazil was on that top list of locations. So maybe, just maybe, Mark needs to set up an office in Brazil. I was supposed to serve my mission for my church in Salvador, Bahia, but I had visa problems and I was delayed, so I went to Portugal instead. So one day I'm going to get to Brazil and see all of you amazing people and visit that country. All right. Hello. Good to see you. Amin, good to see you. We'll give a bunch of shout outs here. There's the question, right? There's the question. We'll see if there's another TR to PR pathway. Okay, we've got Lainel from Kuwait. Hold off on your questions. We'll get to them. We're just giving a few shout outs. I think people like to see their name pop up in here. That's kind of fun. At least that's what people have told me. So good to see you over in Cambridge. Hope you're staying warm. George, good to see you. Thanks for connecting in. A long-term follower and alumnus of the Canadian Immigration Institute. Welcome, George. Thank you for being here. Ralph, my brother from another mother. Good to see you as always. And those of you who are posting your questions, just hang on and we'll get to them. Nabaz, good to see you. And Ralph, awesome. Love that. Love it. Okay. You know what? Sometimes you just have to have a little bit of fun because there are so many things, that just are here that are breaking our hearts. Just like Akram says, the new immigration plan has broken our hearts. As an FSW applicant, I feel so discriminated. Discriminated is a hard word. Okay. Discriminated. Absolutely. You are definitely the lowest on the priorities for the government. And my heart goes out to you. My heart goes out to all of you. Hang in there. I'm going to say myself that we're going to start to see rounds mid-year. And I talked a little bit about that in the video that I did specifically on the levels plans. And you guys know, those that are watching on Twitter or on Facebook or on any of these other platforms that are out there, YouTube is kind of the source where you can easily search and find the videos that I've done. And so if you go here, you'll see that I did this new 2022 immigration levels plan right here. And if you want to get the deets and everything that I broke it down at a level that no one else has done, and you can see this video, I'm not sure how long it ultimately was, an hour and 16 minutes. So I take the time to break it down right to the minutia and not only just spew out what the basic charts say, basically, immigration is going to be up 431 and then 447 total and 451. I went through everything in detail. So go check that out. And remember that these resources are all searchable too. So if I click in here and I say, self-employed, I want to know if, how to claim self-employed work experience. Well, what do you know? Here's an example of someone I helped who was self-employed, success story. How do I claim self-employment? How do I prove work experience if I'm self-employed? You guys get it, right? Oh, what to do if you're paid in cash. And this stuff, because it's so evergreen, it's still as valid today as it was if I recorded it back in 2017. So the principles are the same. So don't hesitate to go check that stuff out, because a lot of the questions you ask, I've done a video on it. So there we go. And Akram, I'm with you. I'm with all of you guys. My heart goes out to you. Okay, let's keep zipping down. We'll do a few more shout outs and then we'll get to the questions. Okay. Oh yes. Yes. Ms. Fox, thank you for the big shout out. She is someone who's joining me right here in the Express Entry course tonight. It was pretty fun yesterday, wasn't it? It was awesome. You guys are fantastic. That is so awesome. So yeah, so she's over here and she's attending this class, our master class on Express Entry. So very, very cool. Great to have you. Okay, let's see here. We've got, I'll pop up just a quick one here. When can the minister come back with a reply? We just have to watch. We just have to watch, wait and see. Okay. Kyle said it's a great day for muffins. Well, great, Kyle. I'm happy for you, my friend. I'm swearing off muffins. I'll be honest. I'm swearing off muffins. Okay. So Joe, let's see, Joe, did you post something somewhere? Let's see if we can find, there we go. Okay. So here's Joe's question. He says, I have friends who have their study visa approved recently and they did not pay tuition fees yet. Which is better, to pay first semester tuition fee, GIC, or pay 1 year tuition fee without GIC? Guys, the student direct stream requires that you have the GIC paid if you're going through that route. If it's not a requirement or not a part of what you're doing from the country you're coming from, well, it's really up to you, but that is not the deciding factor. It's one factor of many. And if you show that you've got $1 billion in your bank account and it's all yours, and you basically are truly looking to advance your education and expand your private mogul online empire that you've created before you ever went to study, well, they're probably not going to have a big concern about approving you. And if your age is in the right range. So the interesting thing, and Alicia, I don't know if we've quite released it yet. I have to check with our releasing folks who are responsible for our blogs. Let's see, is it released yet? Not yet. Alicia has put together an unbelievable list of tools and resources to help international students who are applying for their study permit. And when we look at Chinook and we look at the world that's been created because of Chinook, it is not a situation where you can just go and provide the very bare minimum and get your study permit approved. It is so multifaceted, and it is absolutely, it's absolutely a crazy world right now. I just found Ivete. She says, near Curitiba, União de Vitória, PR. Very cool. Very cool. Excellent. Welcome. Welcome. All right. And Anastasia, good to see you over from Israel. Good to see you. What is that emoji? The good vibes one. Maybe it's like a thumbs up, or I can't remember what that one is. I wish YouTube translated that when I pulled it in here. So, okay. Looking young day by day. Well, as you guys probably know, I'm doing my very best to try to lose all of the COVID, 60 pounds that I put on. And so working hard at that, making progress. I'm down about 21 pounds, if you can believe that, which is no small feat, given the fact I'm turning, I think I've told you guys that, 50. Whoa, 50. So 50 is going to be my best year ever. That's the goal. Okay, let's get a couple more questions, and I'm just jumping down here. My partner's in Canada on a postgrad, and I'm awaiting results on the spousal work permit and the visitor visa. No progress yet. My question is, can I withdraw the spousal work visa now and apply for my study permit instead? Well, you're free to do whatever you want. Like, realistically, you are. So you have the ability to do that. Ultimately, what immigration chooses to do will depend on your unique circumstances, the country you're coming from, your ties to your country, all those kinds of things. But you can do that. There's nothing stopping you from withdrawing one and submitting another. Hello, Omar. Good to see you. Let's see what else we have here. Oh, Toronto, 7 degrees. That's not fair, Raj. That is not fair. Jude, good to see you. And Feroz is here. Mark says, aren't freelance translators skilled workers? They can be. They can be. In fact, translators, if I flip back here and we'll go to the YouTube channel, and I did this search, I believe my good buddy right here was actually a translator, if I'm not mistaken. So there you go. And that was 2 years ago that we did that. Boy, that was an awesome one. Okay, let's flip back here and let's see what else we've got going on here. Yeah, salut. Salut, Eric. Need to work on my French now. It's a big factor, you guys. And I talked about that in the levels plan discussion. French is the new job offer, in all honesty. Although, as the minister addressed, and is the news release that was released by IRCC, there are clear shortages that are building in Canada. And as those shortages build, it becomes easier and easier for employers across Canada. And even if you are someone who has a business and you're wondering, how do I work through the LMIA process? You can jump back here. And like I said, this course right here, this one is for you. And it basically walks you all through the whole process of filing your own labor market impact assessment. And there you go. So that is the LMIA course. More to come. Okay, Sheikh, good to see you. All right, let's hit this one here. Okay, got the remedical request, 1017 for me and my wife, but haven't got the remedical request for my son. What should I do now? Reach out to them immediately. Send a web form. Say, yo, what's up? And yes, there's lots of glitches in the system. You guys have seen what it's like when you're trying to access your GC Key account. It's ugly. Jatin, hello, good to see you. Olu, how are you? Good to see you. He says, I have a valid business visitor visa to Canada and I received the AOR last October. I'd like to know if I'm eligible for bridging open work permit. Okay, so you have a valid business visitor visa and you received AOR. Bridging is only for people that have a work permit right at this time. So you can't go from a visitor to a bridge. A bridge is work permit to work permit. Okay, Miguel down in El Salvador. Welcome, good to see you. Okay, Adam says, do visa officers read LOE and SOP attached? I'm gonna give you one of these and let's see if I can pull this one up right here. So one of the questions we get a lot is the impact of Chinook on the processing of applications. And Chinook, if those of you who don't understand what Chinook is the new way that immigration is fast tracking the processing of applications by batching like or similar applications into tiers or categories that make it easier for them to make decisions faster for officers. And so I won't get into a long drawn out explanation, but one of the things that we're seeing is that officers are absolutely not looking at everything within the file. In fact, it appears that there's someone in the front end who's screening and pulling out only specific parts of the application. And then the officer is making a decision based on maybe 50 or 100 applications all in one spreadsheet that are all batched together. And it's a rapid fire process of doing it. And I'll be honest, there's no way that they can read through entire letters of explanation and statements of purpose. But I'll tell you something, by law, they have to. And if it's clear and you get a refusal, that the refusal grounds do not relate to your application, the facts just don't bear out. You know, if it says because you refused because of family ties in Canada and you have no family in Canada, that's when you contact us. That's when you file a leave application to challenge it, judicially review it. Yes, we can request reconsideration and do our best, but even reconsiderations are not being addressed in the same way that they used to. So, great question, Adams. And I'm going to give you one of these. An applause. Great question. Okay, next up here. Okay, here's a good question from Anastasia. What is the best strategy for those who are coming to study in 2022 for 2 years? We should definitely start preparing for PR in advance now, considered levels plan and the high competition. So yes, absolutely you're going to. If your study permit has been approved, you can do whatever you want. There is no harm in keeping a profile in there. If you're looking to study and that's what you're looking to do, you're never going to put a profile in because it can give an officer a suggestion that maybe you might want to stay permanently. And don't get me started on the whole concept of dual intent. If they were actually treating that provision within the Act as a real provision, they wouldn't be refusing people on the scale that they are just because they have, well, in part, because they have a profile submitted with express entry. All right. Okay, let's see who's next. All right, who's up next? We've got multiple questions. Harina says, are study permits from Hong Kong being processed faster? Harina, I don't know the answer to that one. I just don't. I haven't seen any separate data or analytics on that. Big shout out to CELA, the Canadian Immigration Lawyer Association, because there's some brilliant lawyers that have created a little tool for us lawyers to contribute and participate in sharing the results of our processing times within our office, so we can create our own real, as accurate as we can get processing times for various streams like the Hong Kong one. So I don't have an answer to that one. Okay, let's see here. It looks like I'm just got a bunch of stuff going on here. Okay, I gotta turn that one off, that beeping. Okay, Amit says, what is the deadline to respond to portal request mail for eCoper, since I'm planning to go out of the country during the request? I'm not sure exactly what that means, but ultimately you want to make sure that you've got that taken care of 100% before you leave, and don't make any plans until it's done, because there's nothing worse than, because you can only land with an eCoper when you're in Canada. So take care of that before. As far as the timelines, read the instructions. They will give you a timeline for how long you have to provide. Okay. Okay, Jacob says, what do I do if TR to PR is approved and CEC is still not approved? Then request to have the CEC withdrawn. That's what I would do. Yeah, George, did RCC allocate a budget to improve the PR card production? I can't even be sure it will be ready in 6 months. I know, George, it's super, super frustrating. And many people are kind of caught in that situation. But the processing, they're looking at tackling everything. So not just FSW, not just spousals, but all lines they're looking at tackling. So I have to assume that some of the money will be either directly contributing to it, or it will free up the hiring of more officers that will then allow the PR card officers who are good at that to really focus on their task. All right, let's see what else we have here. I think we got some chats I better check in on. Make sure we don't miss any here. Okay, next is Nicholas, and he says, FSW and CRS 540. I know that's off the charts, my friend. IELTS expires July 12th. Should I retake the exam or wait around for no program before July? I would be prepared to redo it. Okay, be prepared to retake your IELTS and keep everything fresh. You never know what's going to happen. And you would hate to be in a situation where you get an ITA on June 30th or something, and then there isn't time enough to get another language test done because everybody's racing to get those tests done because now they're doing rounds of invitations. Do you get it? And many in the TR to PR pathway fell into that category, especially international grads, because you don't even think about it. Why should I write a test now? I'm still finishing up school. I'm not done yet. And then boom, the government opens up a program, and those who had the IELTS results were able to proceed. Those who didn't weren't. So that's the best advice that I can give you. Okay, let's see what we've got here. Who's next? Okay, so this is Effie. Effie says, let's see, I don't think I answered this one. PNP AOR July 2nd. Okay, I called IRC support line and was informed my file was moved to Winnipeg. I am Outland. Any ideas why this moved? The officer said Winnipeg's not a visa office. No movement yet. Well, the reality is they have the ability to move, and the minister talked about this in some of his news releases, that with the global network, they have the ability to move the processing of your application to anywhere that has capacity. And I'll be honest, generally speaking, that is a positive thing. Okay, it's positive because they're getting it to an officer that has capacity to process versus just having it sit in this big long queue. That's why it's a good thing. Now, if you're in Canada and your file is referred to a local office, that can also be a bad thing if you're in Canada, because it could mean that they're sending it for a further review, or an officer who needs to dig a little bit deeper. Maybe they suspect there's some fraud in your application, or maybe they have reservations or questions that they might even require you to come in for an interview, which is very, very rare. But almost always, if you're in Canada and it's sent to a local office, I would immediately request the GCMS notes. And within our office, we do that all the time for our clients. And then once you get a chance, you can kind of see at least an indication of why it was referred. But for you, an Outlander, It could just be trying to get to an office that has more capacity to process. It's possible. Okay, let's see what else we have here. Go back here and we'll pull up some more of these little chatter ratters. Let's see. Okay. Okay, Mohammed here. Okay, so Mohammed says, okay, applied under the international grad. I received AOR in July. The application passed eligibility in September, but stuck in background check since then. Do I have any options? So if you said July of 2021, my friend, you are like processing from within Canada under the international grad. Like you can see with the levels plans like we looked at, and as we review these, I'll flip it back. They are fully intending, right, that the international grads, some of the TR to PR pathways may extend even into 2023 to finalize. And they've got that 32,000 that's allocated here. Once again, remember that they can do this year, 2022, up to 48 is kind of the high range. So, you know, understand that there is still possibly room, and we'll just have to see how it plays out. But it could very well extend all the way into 2023, depending upon when you submitted, which of course you as an international grad got yours in the very first day. So, so at this stage, you're fully in the queue. And as far as eligibility and stuck in background check, well, it just takes time. It depends on your country too. Some countries, the other jurisdiction isn't super cooperative, and it takes a long time for them to respond when they're doing background checks for some countries. And you could, Mohammed, be caught in one of those processes. Okay, Mariana says, how will knock codes changing next year affect applications if there's no draws this year? Can eligible codes now become ineligible? Should people worry? We've had lots of discussions about that, Mariana, and I have no worry about this. Zero. For this year, for sure, there's no way they're going to launch this new tier system. They're not. Everything's a gong show. The online process, the PNPs have to change what they're doing. Express Entry has to make changes. And these are wholesale changes to make sure that the codes work, because, you know, ultimately you'd think it's really easy and you just flip a dial and there's no issues, but that's not the case. So for people that are looking at 2023, obviously, if you're, for example, a food service supervisor or something along those lines, you know, there's always the possibility that the government could do anything. You know, I remember back when, before Express Entry was created, CEC had an occupation in demand list. So for a period of time, in order to determine who was going to get into CEC, you actually had to be on this list, and your knock code had to be on the list. And so they can do just about anything within this process. So your job is to try to get the best job that you can, to try to work in as skilled a position as you can. If you're in Canada, don't settle on the lowest, always try to move up. And if that's your goal, that's something you have control over, Mariana. Because otherwise, no one knows with 100% degree certainty what the government is going to do. So always look for opportunities for upward mobility. And remember, with CEC, you can have different knocks. It's not a problem as long as the work experience was all accumulated in the last 3 years. Okay, Nishant says, please share some info on Winnipeg VO. A bunch of PNP files, from November 21st to June 21st, AOR have been transferred there, and we see no progress at all. Hang tight. Obviously, there's lots of questions about, what's happening in visa offices. And I think some of you have seen how some applications were stalled out, international spousals and things like that, because they were kind of allocated to this one dummy kind of officer number, which really wasn't a real officer. And those things do exist. But my view, at least with things being transferred, was to have an ability to speed up the processing. And it's probably, I'll be honest. So let me just share a little bit of an insight here. So lean in. Whenever you transfer one officer from one stream of processing to another, it doesn't matter how much experience they had. There's a learning curve involved with that. And so I think if Winnipeg has capacity, then it's likely that the people that are working through those are just taking a little bit more time because they're getting up to speed with processing. They're not like the experienced officers who've been at it for 5 years or now 6 years for Express Entry and who can just whip through these fast. And so it takes time. So it could be that that is the case. And in the long run, everybody will benefit. That's my take on it. Now it's possible it could be, there could be concerns or a reason that they shifted, or, we've seen crazy things. And Nishant, I'm not going to say in any way, shape, or form that anything that you filed or done is not correct or above board. But in other cases, people are scooped out and batched because they've used an illegal representative, or there's been some kind of fraud, and then they've been able to trace it back to that individual and all individuals associated with the one bad actor. And there are representatives out there, they're all over, that are illegal, that are illegal consultants that you guys pay, that, if they're identified and caught by immigration because of the way they submit their applications, reference letters that look identical. And I'm going to actually flip back. And the last person, I think it was yesterday or one of the other days, is like, oh, Mark's always trying to sell his course. Oh yeah, that's true. I am at every moment. I would like every person in the world to take my course. But the one thing that I point out in this course is how dangerous it is to use a reference letter template that you find on the internet. And if you go to this, my channel here, and you go to videos, this one right here, yes, this, oh no, the top 3 one right here. This, I talk about it in detail. I can't believe only 2,000 people have watched this. This is one of the best videos that I have ever done. This top 3 tip is so much more than top 3s, but in there, I talk specifically about the dangers of using reference letters off of the internet. And why? Well, it's pretty simple. It's dangerous because when individuals use something off of the internet, and 6 out of the 10 files on an officer's desk are all DIYers like you guys are, that have used some sample they found on the internet, given it to their employer, and the officer is looking at an application, 3 different applications that all have the exact same format in the reference letter, they're going to start to question whether things are legitimate or not. And you guys share everything. You really do. If someone will post something online and someone will say, hey, that works, it worked for me, then everybody piles on. Then it sure must work for me as well, right? So that's a long, convoluted discussion about that, but and it's all speculation, but that's my thoughts. Okay, Anoop says, I am a PEI doing MBA, will complete August, 13 years of IT experience, 2170. Are you looking for a job? Wow. Hey, maybe I'm hiring here. With NOC code 2171, should I move to Ontario for international student stream, job offer OINP or Alberta PNP, or apply PEI PNP? From my perspective, I always advise people to explore the options where they are right now. For example, you complete your MBA in PEI, you can't go through Alberta's slam dunk AOS, the Alberta Opportunity Stream. Only if you've studied in Alberta and are working in an occupation related to your study can you go through as an international grad on a post-grad open work permit. So you have to watch the provinces, but I am always an advocate of trying to stay in the place where you got everything started, because that's where your ties are. It's often the path of least resistance. So my wife and I are actually going to PEI in July. I'm really excited to go there. And my wife, it's been a dream of hers for really all of her life. And I'm so excited. We were supposed to go to Egypt, Israel, and Jordan. Well, Egypt, Jordan, and Israel on a tour for our 25th anniversary. But the pandemic hit. We were supposed to fly March 18th and everything shut down. And so we're going to go instead to PEI this year, and it's our 50th birthdays. So I'm looking forward. So maybe I'll see you there, Anoop. Okay, let's see here. We'll get to the last super here. Okay, let's see. I think it's this one. Okay, so Mark, I've received remedical request for 2 out of 4 applicants. Oh, you can see, guys, you can see the glitches. Can I add the remaining 2 and do upfront medicals for them as well to get longer COPR expiry dates? Do it. So I would recommend that you do. Why they only gave a request for 2 out of the 4, it does not make logical sense. I'm assuming your original application, you submitted a medical for everyone. So go ahead and do that. If the doctor will do an upfront medical, do it. And then make sure you get your e-medical information sheet and then upload that to IRCC through the web form. That's what I'd recommend that you do. Okay, let's jump back here. We've got a ton of questions. I'm just going to have to kind of random these guys. So let's see here. Okay. Ocean says, hey, Mark, are applicants from India receiving passport requests? Yes, they are. I know they are. It may not come as fast as everyone would like, but when you have applicants from India formulating over 30%, I think it's 33 or 34% of the total landings for express entry, and it's one visa office, clearly things are going to stall out and it's going to go slower. Okay. Okay. Hillary says, what are the options for persons who wish to migrate to Canada if they have been removed from the US? Well, you can always apply for permanent residence. A removal from the US, depending upon the circumstances, is likely not going to prohibit you from applying for permanent residence. But applying for temporary work, study, visit, highly unlikely you would get your visitor application or any temporary application approved if you've been removed from the US. And remember, officers can see everything, whether you disclose it or not. Okay, let's see what else we have here. Okay, Joe says, I will be studying 2-year software development program in Calgary. Very cool. Calgary is the new IT hub. We're building it. We're building it. After I get my postgrad work permit, I plan to work as a tech knock. Do I need 1 year experience to apply for the accelerated tech pathway? You need an employer that is supporting you. And this is a great question, Joe, because I can't remember, Joe, maybe you attended it. I'm not sure. But if we flip back here to the YouTube channel again, you will see that I did a video right here, AIP Accelerated Tech Pathway, where we went into everything in depth. So I'm going to direct you back to that one and just flip it on. And then, we covered just a ton of stuff, Alicia and I, related to the tech pilot. But you are well on your way, Joe. Remember, the key is to get that job offer from the employer. That's what's key. Okay. Amis, what's the easiest way to, here, let's flip this back here. Give me 1 second. Turn that one off. I think I can shut it off. Oh, there it is. I'll flip back to here. Okay. And then we'll switch to Amis here. So what's the easiest way to move to Canada from Africa? I'll be honest. I don't know if there's any way that's easy. Ultimately, if it was to come to Canada, it would be through express entry and the permanent resident process. Because as you guys have seen, study permits, visitor permits, even work permits are highly, highly prejudiced in Africa. And it takes long, long, long periods of time. All right. Okay, here's an interesting question. Okay, Vaishali says, my husband is on a postgrad currently. If I come to Canada as a student, will he get open work permit on the basis of my study status? He can. He can easily flip over and apply for an open work permit as an accompanying spouse to your C42. Is that C42 or C41? C42, I think it is, as an accompanying spouse for a full-time study permit holder. So yes, it is possible to do that if done correctly. And if you want to book a consult, we can guide you through that process. Okay, let's see what else is here. I'm going to flip through a couple more. Hang with me here. Okay, I'm just going to pull up some more chats. I saw a few more pop in there. Okay, let's see. So we've got that one. We've covered Imran. Okay, so when you do that, make sure that you put your comment, because then I have to try to search for your name. Oh, now I forgot what it was. Let's see here. Okay. There we go. Okay, so here's the question. Oh, maybe I already answered that. Okay, so my fiance received his COPR January 22nd. Wow. My FSW AOR dates is May 2020. Since 2020, we're delaying our wedding to avoid complex FSW, but no re-medical request yet. Shall I withdraw FSW, get married, and apply spousal? I will never, ever be able to answer that one, Anupriya, in a chat within our within this live stream. I need a whole lot more information before I'm able to give you advice on something as severe and drastic as withdrawing an application. And that is very much so one of those, which is legal advice. And you guys know the drill. Something like that, you want to slide over here to our website and book a consult with one of our awesome lawyers here. Me hiding at the bottom. All right. Let's keep zipping. Let's see what we've got next here. I think I saw one other one that slid in. Okay, so this one is from Shikar. Mark, hope you're doing well. Do you think expanded pathways will be open soon for international grads as it was in Sean Fraser's mandate? So remember that pathways to help with international grads for sure is there. We haven't seen anything. As you probably are aware, as a Canadian Bar Association, we are just putting the finishing touches on our submission to ask the minister for sure to re-up the 18-month post-grad work permit extension. And also, we offer some creative solutions, what we call our CEC Plus option for transitioning international post-grad work permit holders through the CEC and other work permit holders potentially as well, through a modified kind of CEC that's kind of targeted to them. So we'll see what happens for sure. We'll see. We'll just have to watch and wait. All right. Every time I go back to you super chatters, I get pushed back up to the top of my feed. So then I try to scroll back down and it's virtually impossible to remember where I left off. So, Albert, give you a big shout out as well. Another student who's attending the course. And that's awesome. You guys really are awesome. This group, I'm really looking forward to this. Really, really looking forward to it. Okay. Okay, let's see. DePauli says, does the university decide full-time status? Yes. The university is the one that makes that call. For example, 5 credit hours in semester as full-time, highly, highly unlikely that 5 credit hours is ever going to be considered full-time. Open work permit is not granted if the spouse student study pending for a month. Open work permit not granted if the spouse student study pending for a month. I'm not quite sure, DePauli. I recommend that you do one of these ones, but it's highly unlikely that 5 credit hours would constitute full-time studies. There might be something else going on, but yeah. Ghazi, like we said, as far as the post-grad, we're just not sure. We're keeping our fingers crossed. And hey, if you guys see something posted, if CIC News throws it out there, those guys tend to beat me to this, but I do my best. But what they don't do is go to the length of detail that I provide, but they definitely beat me to the punch, really, because their news folks that's all they do. They're paid to release it fast. And I have you that I'm representing and live Q&As that I do. All right. Which reminds me, once again, if you go back to the site, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, get over here and subscribe, because if we go back here, let's go back. Maybe I can go back to the main screen here. I don't even know how I do that. Oh, I know why. Because no, I don't know how. Just give me a second here. Maybe I can go back here. I'm trying to find my, I don't want to edit my profile. That's what happens when you're trying to look at your own. I know that, my goodness, this is so painful. Where's that taking me? Nope. That's my YouTube studio. All I want to go is the main screen. On the main screen, you will see where it's registered, where the classes. Is there anything over there? No, this is driving me crazy. This is driving me crazy. Okay, I'm going to just give me a second here because I want to show you what you guys have to do. Oh, stupid page. Oh my goodness. This is so awesome. I've never felt so inept as I do right now. This is really something special. Let's try this again. Okay. So basically here you'll see is the live now. Oh, that's why, because it isn't posted yet. Well, Alicia and I are going live tomorrow at 11 Thursday. So come and join and you can have more questions answered. And we also have a very special live that's going to be devoted to international students and tips and strategies on how to improve your chances of getting your study permit approved. So we're going to do that one next week. And I think it's scheduled for, when is it scheduled? Well, watch, subscribe to the channel, make sure that you tell people about this. The more, and this is going up, 100, I'd say about 100 every day, the subscriber count goes up, but really it should be about 1,000 every day, because the more we can get piled in here, the more it gets out and spreads to the world. And the more my little message here can be shared with the world, which is really what I want. I want the whole world to learn and be able to benefit from all of the information that I get. When I get it, I share it. Okay, let's see what our next, let's see if we can find the next. I think I'm caught up to where I was before. And like I said, I apologize if I missed it. Okay, and lots of these, like Irene, her question here, I've already talked about it, so some I will skip through. But watching from Toronto, do you think one can still be eligible just in case another 18-month public policy is issued if she is already under the previous policy? Thanks a lot. It's possible. We don't know, and it's entirely possible. In all honesty, it makes sense, right? They re-upped it, but then they shut the program down. So the people that were benefiting from the last one, at least for extension of their work permits, are still in the same boat because there hasn't been those ITAs, right? So I wouldn't be surprised. Okay. Oh, Sergey, good question. What about seafarers? I've had a lot of questions over the years from you guys, and I know your schedules are crazy. I did have a client that I worked through everything with him. The key for you, Sergey, is that you have at least 1 year of skilled work experience, and it has to be continuous, right? Continuous, full-time, at least 30 hours a week paid. And with your crazy rotations and your work schedules, it's often hard to be able to justify, the continuous full-time. Now, in some cases, people will be able to show 6 months of continuous and then maybe they have 6 months off. Well, at the end of the day, you still need to have the 1 year. And unless you have it, whether it's full-time or continuous 2 years in part-time, you're not going to be able to get through. And that's where a lot of the seafarers get hung up. Okay. Okay, Ankit says, is there any benefit of contacting a member of parliament with a representative already present in their constituency? Been waiting for 26 months now. Thank you, Mark. Well, hopefully your representative is doing something for you, Ankit. That's the thing that just drives me crazy. Like, if you're retaining a representative to represent you and you're paying them the bucks to represent you through the whole process, it's not just once we file, then we don't talk to you anymore, which unfortunately I had a consultation with someone just yesterday who was in that situation. And the lawyer, and I know them, was not doing a good job at communicating with their clients. And I see everything, you guys. People book consults, whether they've hired a lawyer, a consultant, and or they're self-represented, they're DIYers. I get it all. And often I tell the individual, that, yeah, they're not really being as responsive as we would in our firm and as what you should expect based on how much you're paying them. Not that money determines, responsiveness, but the reality is you have a right to be adequately represented. And when you pay someone to do that, they should be the ones reaching out to the MP for additional help on your behalf. 26 months now is it's a long ways up there, right? I don't know what program you're going through, but definitely, and I can't remember, Ankit, I'm sure we've talked about this before, but I can't remember. Okay. So yeah, go back to them and hold them to the fire, make them work for you. All right. Lisa says hers was processed in Edmonton. All right. Okay. Let's see if I'm missing any other chats here. We've got about 5 minutes to go. Looks like we had a few that jumped in there. I didn't even see all these. Okay. I got to get caught up with the supers here. How far? Okay. I think it's right here. Okay. I think this is where we're at. Okay. Shakar says, Mark, hope you're doing well. Do you think expanded pathways will be open soon? Okay. Yeah. We covered that one. Okay. Did we cover Samir as well? Inland PNP, June 2021. AOR Medicals and Biometricals updated in October. No updates after that. Should I worry about ordering GCMS notes? Inland PNP, June 2021 AOR? No. You are well within the processing times. And when you say inland PNP, you haven't expressed whether it's express entry or not. If it was through express entry, because you indicate, the AOR was June 2021. I'm just looking here to see. Yeah, I think, regardless of whether it's regardless of whether it's express entry, I've seen up to 9 months longer for in Canada express entry. And then of course we know the paper-based are off the charts. All right. Next one says, I'm a September 27th, 2021 CC, ADR for RCMP, submitted January the 5th. Eligibility is passed. What are the chances I may land this year? Very high. Very, very high. Yes. I would, well, unless something comes back and you're actually an axe murderer, which I'm pretty sure you're not, and you're otherwise inadmissible or your application gets refused, if everything is correct, which I'm sure it's just fine. And why do they do the RCMP requests? It's because there's either a name, date of birth match that's close enough that they need your fingerprint to rule out that you are not the person that's on their hit list, basically, with having a criminal record in Canada. So, boy, like this year, I'm not saying I would, but I would be close to betting, well, the revenue that I've earned in the last course that people have registered for. Okay, let's see. Okay, so Nishant here. Okay, thanks, Mark, for info on Winnipeg VO. As per GCMS, transfer was done for workload distribution. There we go. There's the answer. In my case, info sharing plus criminality and meds are all passed. Yeah. And you know what? And that's really what I suspected was driving the ship. And like I explained, it's probably there's like, because traditionally Winnipeg has not been the place where PR has been processed. So it may very well be that they have some new officers even hired in Winnipeg that are learning how to do these. And like the TR to PR pathway where we had visitor visa officers assigned to work on it. Yeah, that it's not surprising that they're taking longer. But you guys that are waiting and you're frustrated with the processing times, just think of our good friend earlier who has been waiting as an FSW and missed out and may be forever barred, at least because of eligibility, because of how competitive things are now. So those that are stuck and are frustrated with the processing times, just remember and be respectful of how many people would give anything to be in the queue and waiting 3 years, 4 years, just to have their dream realized. But I don't take anything away with the frustrations you guys are also experiencing. It's just, yeah, I feel bad for everybody right now. Okay, Ravi says, you guys are going to push me into overtime here, so we'll answer 2 more. Ravi says, and I'll actually start a little bit of music here as well. Okay, so Ravi says, I am on a postgrad work permit. My girlfriend is a US citizen, which will be faster. Mary, okay. This, my friend, is not an easy one. I'll turn the music down a little bit here. So, you're on a postgrad with your girlfriend as a US citizen. Which way will be faster? Marry and file her on my dependent, or she should apply for work permit under USMCA? Well, ultimately, remember, one is a work permit, and yeah, the other, like if you're applying, remember, as a girlfriend, she needs to either be married or a common law. So if she's not, then a girlfriend alone isn't enough to apply for a open work permit for her to accompany you as a spouse. She actually needs to be a spouse. So if you get married, which is the only pathway that you can use to go through the accompanying spouse, I would never ever recommend someone gets married just for the purposes of immigration, ever. Like, that's a huge deal. Like I said, my wife and I were, what are we, closing on 27 this year? Whoa, yeah, crazy. Married when we were 23. Fantastic. In your situation, if she has a USMCA option, I'd pursue it, right? I'd pursue that. And ultimately, when you reach the stage where you're going to apply for permanent residence, maybe then you're in a position to, to get married and move forward. So yeah, those are just some thoughts, Ravi. Okay. Oh, you guys sneaking in more supers. Okay. Super chat. French, December 22nd, FSW or student visa or e-file by May 22nd. Wait for PNP. E-profile expires by May. No dual intent. Study application by September 23rd for January intake. I'll ring that bell a couple times. Pernendu, you absolutely need to book a consult. There's no way I can sift through that. No way. Okay, last one here, December 2020. Should I go for upfront medicals? Do you know what? With individuals, you need to understand that if you can afford it and it's not a big deal, and you don't mind if for whatever reason, even the second medicals expire, you can totally go ahead and do that and preempt things. If it's in the system, an officer goes to finalize your application and they see that you've re-updated your medicals and new medicals are on the system already, hey, that will cut the time down. It sure will. Okay, I am officially wrapping this critter up. So thank you everybody for tuning in. It was awesome to have you here. And now we'll officially turn it back on to wrap things up. And so thanks so much for joining me here in this edition of the Immigration Live Q&A. I am your host, Mark Holthe, Canadian immigration lawyer, ex-immigration officer, and former high school teacher. Take care, guys. We'll see you tomorrow at 11 with Alicia. Hey, that's kind of nice. Like that beat. See you guys.